Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
How good it is to see you here in the Temple Sinai Sanctuary. On behalf of our Board of Trustees, I want to welcome you to our Shabbat evening service tonight. Also want to welcome our friends and family who may be joining us from a distance. And as I ask you frequently to do, please wave to them at that camera. Before we begin our service here in the sanctuary, may I remind everyone to silence cell phone devices, please. Thank you. This evening, student cantor Dan Geigerman will lead us in song and prayer, accompanied by Dr. Dave McFarlane at the keyboard. No, not a keyboard, a real fine piano. And later in the evening, Co-President Betty Adams will provide some information and some announcements to you. What I ask of everyone is to please join in prayer and song this evening so we really feel part of this wonderful community. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Let us begin with a prayer at the top of our handout on the first page, entitled, I Am Unique. My God, I thank you for my life, my soul, and my body, for my name, and for my sexual and affectional nature, for my way of thinking and talking. Help me realize that in my qualities I am unique in the world. For were this not so, I would not have needed to exist. Help me make perfect my own ways of loving and caring, that by becoming perfect in my own way, I can honor your name and help bring about the coming of the Messianic age. We begin our service this evening with the words of Yirid Nefesh. Yidi nefesh harachaman, Yidi nefesh harachaman, mishol kavdecha, eretz onecha, mishol Yadadadai, Eretz onecha, Yarutz avdecha, ki mo hayom, Yishtachave yadadai, Yadadadai, El to invite Carol and Paul Schoenberg to help us to light the candles and to lead us into the Kiddush. Kiddush.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
The heaven and the earth.
No, not yet. Okay. We do this first. Did you? Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Okay, now you can do it. The heaven and the earth.
The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the seventh day, God finished work that God had been doing. And God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all work of creation that God had done.
Page 123.
For
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzah v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom tehila lemikraye kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim kivanu v'chavta ve'otanu kidashta v'kol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'v'ratzon inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
Chaim, I'm going to walk down the steps.
We continue with our Kabbalat Shabbat service on page 131 with Shiru Ladonai. Shiru Ladonai shir chadash, Shiru Ladonai kol haaretz. Shiru Ladonai baruch hu shemo, basru miyom leyom yeshuato. Shiru Ladonai shir chadash, Shiru Ladonai kol haaretz. Shiru Ladonai baruch hu shemo, basru miyom leyom yeshuato. Sabru v'goyim kevodo, bechol ha'amim niflotav, ki gadol Adonai, u'mehulal me'od, norahu al kol Elohim, bechol Elohei amim melilim, Adonai shamayim asah, hod v'hadar lefanav, oz v'tiferet b'mikdasho, avu l'Adonai v'shvechot amim, avu l'Adonai kevod ba'oz, avu l'Adonai kevod shemo, השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, חילו מפניו כל הארץ, אמרו בגויים אדוני מלך, אף תיכון תבל מלטימות, ידי נאמין במישרים. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, עשו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. We turn to page 132 for the words of Or Zarua. Or Zarua LaTzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. Or Zarua LaTzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. Or Zarua LaTzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. Yishrei lev simcha. Or Zarua LaTzadik Yishrei lev simcha. Yishrei lev simcha. Yadai dai, yadai dai dai, yadai yadai dai, yadai dai dai. Yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai, yai dai dai. We are commanded both to shamor v'zachor, to remember and guard Shabbat. And these two angels that we name Shamor v'Zachor, we invite into our midst at this time on page 142 with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Barchuni leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It is said that when God made Adam, that God made Adam a whole being in the image of God, and that when God separated Adam from Eve, that is when we truly became what we initially thought were just male and female, but now in our In our day, we understand that we are much more than that. We are truly B'Tselem Elohim. We are made in the image of God, who is neither male nor female, but encompassing all. And so we ask right now that the Shekhinah, the female, what we would call the female aspect of God, come into our midst with Lecha Dodi on page 138. Lecha Dodi Tikrat Gala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Tikrat Gala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Ishmi'anu el hamiuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shem ol tiveret b'lichila lecha dodi Tikrat gala b'nei Shabbat Nekabela lecha dodi Tikrat gala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha Ki hi mekor ha'bracha Merosh mikedem nesucha So ma'aseh v'machshav achila lecha dodi Likrat gala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Gala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Hitorevri Kiva orech kumi ori Uri shir daveri Kivod Adonai alech digla lecha dodi Likrat gala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha dodi Likrat gala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Boi v'shalom ateret bala Gam b'simcha uve'tzola Toch emunei av segula Boi chala Lecha dodi Likrat gala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha dodi Likrat gala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Please take a moment and say hello to those around you, and Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. We continue and remain standing on page 146 for the Baruch Hu. Yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, 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 yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai, yai dai dai, yai dai dai, yai dai, yai dai dai dai. Die, 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 You may be seated. The world is not so black and white as many of us were taught when we grew up. In fact, it is many shades of many different colors and many different tones. But one of the essential things is the light and the dark of nature, of the sun, of the moon, and the stars. And so we turn to page 148 and give thanks for this daily cycle that renews creation. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Orei yom v'layla, goleh lor mipnei choshech, goleh lor mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Orei yom v'layla, goleh lor mipnei choshech, goleh lor mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. We continue with a reading for Ahavat Olam on your service handout. Our people came out of Egypt in a mixed multitude, the spray of dividing waters sparkling diamonds all around them. We stood together at Sinai, all of us, future, present, and past, amid the rubble of thunder and the crack of bright lightning, to enter into covenant with the one who loves us, in whose shining image we are all created over and over again. We have wandered bleak landscapes, built flimsy tents of skin, and then houses of stone. We have planted orchards and vineyards, seen 2 temples rise and then go down in surging flames, forcing us into exile. We have loved and lost, grieved and danced, transgressed and celebrated, hidden, suffered, and thrived. And we gather here this day in the community of our people in a mixed multitude, and we sing out, "Hear, O Israel, we stand together, all of us, descendants of the single first human created on the 6th day, and of our myriad parents down through the generations, too numerous to name. We stand together, link arms, and pray. Blessed are you, God of the universe, who sanctified us with commandment to love ourselves and one another in all our varied ways, and blesses us with a diamond-bright radiance that still ripples out from the first spoken words of creation." We continue on page 152 and 153 as we rise for the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu Adonai, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto, Leolam, Leolam Va'ed. You may be seated. And you shall love Adonai, your God, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be for frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates, and upon your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God. We continue together on page 195. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai, micha mocha nedar b'kodesh, norah tehilot, oseh It is my honor to invite Jackie Mullen to come and do a reading for Hashkivenu.
Okay. Hi, everyone. This is for Pride Shabbat 2022, Rainbows and Storms, a queer poem by Jaden Diamond. Rainbows and storms go hand in hand. Some stars are light, barely swaying the limbs of a tree. Some uproot trees, tear down mountains, flood entire towns. Still, a rainbow resides behind each cloud, through each particle of light. Some rainbows are cut short, here for a moment, gone the next, their beauty barely catching our eyes. Sometimes we never do glimpse all they were meant to be, every beautiful thing gone. Though the clouds have passed, I still weep. We still weep. The storm still looms overhead in some towns. We don't see the rainbow, yet we don't know it is there. Yet we know it is there. Trembling, terrified, alone, struggling to hold out, to wait for a break between lightning and thunder, declaring at long last, the storm has passed, the rainbow is free, now at long last.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'Yerushalayim, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. We turn to page 162 for Vishamru. Vishameru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים, כי ששת ימים עושה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. bayom hashvi shavad vayinafash v'shameru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat la'asot et hashabat לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. We turn to page 164 and rise for the Aleinu, not the Aleinu, sorry, for the Amidah. Skip the whole part of the service. Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah El Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel chasadim tovim vekonei hakol vezocher chasdei avot veimahot umevi geula livnei vneihem leman shemo ve'ahava melech ozer u'moshia u'magen Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayei hakol atah rav lehoshia. Morid hatal, mechalkel chayim v'chesed, mechayei hakol berachamim rabim. Tomech noflim verofech cholim umatir asurim umekayem emunato lishenei afar michamocha ba'al gevurot umido melach melech meimid Mechayeh umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'emanata lehachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehallelu chaselna Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. We take this moment for silent prayer. You may be seated when you are ready. מודים אנחנו לך שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואימותינו לעולם ועד. צור חיינו מגן אישנו אתה הוא לדור ודור אתה הוא לדור ודור. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. We continue the service this evening with our Torah service on page 362 as we rise to remove the Torah from the ark. Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai ve'ein kemasecha malechutecha malechut kol olamim u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai imloch leolam va'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Av harachamim heitiva v'tzonecha et Zion. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim. Ki lecha levad matachnu melech el ram v'nisa aton olamim. Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah. Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah. Udvar Adonai b'Yerushalayim. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael v'kedushato. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo. Gadlu Adonai iti uneromema Shemo yachtav. Lecha Adonai hagidula ve'hagivura ve'hatiferet ve'hanetzach ve'hahod. Ichol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz. Ichol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz. Lecha Adonai hamelacha le'amid na'aseh lechol rosh. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilud chasadim. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilud chasadim. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'hishtachavnu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'hishtachavnu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'hishtachavnu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'hishtachavnu lehar kodsho. This week's Torah portion is Shalach Lecha. You may be seated. We will be on page 1122. Yeah. And it is on the second column, the column on the right, after the pasuk break. So we start with Vayomer Adonai el Moshe. We good? Okay, cool. Any and all who want to say the blessing before the Torah, please rise as a community. And we recite together, Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach, Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Notein HaTorah. Amen. Amen. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el bnei Yisrael v'amarta alehem, v'asu lahem tzitzit, al kanfei bigdehem ledorotam, v'natnu al tzitzit hakanaf petil techelet, V'haya lahem litzitzit uritem oto uzkartem et kol mitzvot Adonai v'asitem otam v'lo taturu acharei levavchem v'acharei nechem asher atem zonim achareihem Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim lelohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim v'od lachem le'elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem. We recite together the blessing after the Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah. Amen. You may be seated. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, the Lord said to Moses as follows. Speak to the Israelite people and to instruct them to make for themselves fringes on the corners of their garments throughout the ages. Let them be attached to a cord of blue to the fringe at each corner. That shall be your fringe. Look at it and recall all the commandments of the Lord and observe them, so that you do not follow your heart and eyes in your lustful urge. Thus you shall be reminded to observe all my commandments and be holy to your God. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? Well, it is. The whole Torah portion is very interesting, but this is the very end of the Torah portion. And I thought it was very poignant to pride, remembering to do all of these things that make the world a better place, remembering to be our true selves. So at this time, I would like all of us to offer this extra blessing of Mishaberach to those who need a little bit extra healing. Perhaps maybe they're in a situation where they can't be their authentic self. And that can cause a lot of spiritual, emotional, and physical stress. And so let us send out these prayers of love and Mishaberach to those. And if you are thinking specifically of somebody this evening, please recite their name right now. And those who are joining us virtually, please also recite the name of your loved ones or those who you have in your mind. With the names of all that have been said and all that remain in our heart, we offer up this Mishaberach. Mishaberach avoteinu Abraham, Yitzchak, veYaakov. Mishaberach imoteinu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, veRachel. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Bless us with a vision for tomorrow. Help us to reach out to those in pain. May the warmth of friendship ease our sorrow. Give us courage, give us strength, show us the way. Mi sheberach avoteinu, mi sheberach imoteinu. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. I would like to invite our Hagba, Eric Adams, to come and lift the Torah for us as we return the Torah to the Ark. Please rise. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai v'yad Moshe. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai v'yad Moshe. Yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai yai dai dai, yai dai dai. Yehalelu et Shem Adonai, ki nisgav Shemo levado. Hodo al eretz v'shamayim, vayarem keren le'amo. Tehila lechol chasidav, lifnei Yisrael am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Ki lechach tov natati lahem torati al tazovu. Eitz chayim hi lemachazikim ba v'tom teha meushar deracheha darchei noam lechol netivoteha shalom. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Kadesh, Kadesh Yameinu yameinu yekedem. You may be seated. So, imagine yourself sitting in the synagogue today and not having that Shema, not having that "and thou shalt love," not also having "mi sheberach," not having these wonderful tunes. And these tunes have made it all over the world. They've gotten into the Haredi culture, they've gotten into the Sephardic culture, they've gotten into all of these. And who wrote these? Debbie Friedman. May her memory be a blessing. And she could do that. I heard that. Imagine if you were her, being part of the LGBTQ plus community and not having the freedom to express yourself. Not being able to give to our culture the way she did. Being shunned, being turned away, being told you are not right. You are not a part of us. You are other. How much that would have hurt. And yes, she did come across that from time to time in her life. But she stood up and she said, no. I am going to express myself through my music, and if it touches the lives of others, then that is what I am here to do. And just see what her life built. Her life built this whole new Jewish folk music sound, along with wonderful composers like Jeff Klepper, Craig Taubman, all of these people. It would be nothing without somebody to start it, without Debbie Friedman. Now, those people who would have said, no, you are other, you are not right, you are not allowed, well, they didn't do their homework, did they? Because if you look on your page, the back page, let's start with the back page. We'll get to the infographic because the infographic can be very confusing to those who are first reading it. But let's look at this back page. These are terms for the different genders. And where do they come from? They come from the Talmud. They come from our ancient teaching. This whole idea of there being more than just male and female, white and black, left or right, whatever. They knew early on that this was not the way that the world worked, even though we as human beings like to categorize things. We like to understand things by giving them labels. While that can be helpful in some things, it can be harmful in other ways. So like I said at the very beginning or during the service, God created Adam. And God said, let us create Adam in our image. Why the plural? We see just right now in our Torah portion, it says, Ani Adonai Elohechem. I am Adonai your God. But why at the very beginning of creation does God say, let us? Because we are created B'Tselem Elohim, but it says B'Tselmenu, in our image. And our rabbinic teachers say the third gender that is given in the Talmud, the androgynous. Neither male nor female, God created Adam. And I would say, a more correct translation from a critical historical point of view of the taking of the rib, it is literally taking a side of Adam, one half of Adam. And Adam was split from this androgynous human that was neither male nor female and splits into what we traditionally call male and female. Now, why did God do this? He knew what he was doing. It's a very good answer. If ever you are at a loss for an answer to why did God do something, because God knew what God was doing. But God also understood science and understood the need for reproduction. So this was out of a necessity to start to create human beings, to continue the line. Let's take a look at some of these other ones. This tumtum. A person whose sexual characteristics are indeterminate or obscured. It is also said by our rabbinic sages that Isaac was tumtum. That Isaac did not come out as what Isaac wanted to be until after the Akedah. After going through all of these hardships and really understanding what he was inside, or what they were at the time inside, and then finally going through all of this, Isaac finally understood what he was and finally became the man that we talk about. And then we have two more, Alonit and Saris. These are the ones that nowadays would be, it's hard to put it into terms nowadays, because let's take a look at the infographic. This is the gender unicorn. We all have a gender unicorn inside of us. And this gender unicorn has a lot of different things going on. And if you just look at the different things, we have gender identity, we have gender expression, we have sex assigned at birth, we have physically attracted to and emotionally attracted to. All of these things are different. All of these things are complex. I remember when during the pandemic, I was helping my father in his work with helping landlords and tenants come to legal arrangements to help keep these tenants housed. And he came to me with a question. He said, I have a client, and I don't know what to do. I don't understand, and I would like some help. And my father explained to me that this client did not identify as he or she, but they identified as they, them, theirs. And of course, for many who grew up with the idea of only he or she, this can be very confusing. But my father showed strength and showed character by asking somebody who he thought knew, but quite frankly, as what is called a cis male, a cisgendered male, one who would, and I don't like to use this word, but it's the one that's coming to my mind, and I can't think of a better word, conform to the masculine identity and is also straight. Who am I to help explain this to people? And that is why in the LGBT community, I would be referred to as what is an ally. It is not my job to tell people who they are. It is not our job to tell people who they are. It is our job to listen to somebody and say, who are you? It is our job to listen. Exactly. Now, this might be confusing at first, but I promise you, give it some time, and it'll be fine. Yes, you're going to screw up. I run a Dungeons and Dragons game on Thursday nights, and I have 2 transgendered individuals in our group. I can't tell you the number of times that I've mistakenly said he when I should have said she, or she when I should have said they. And there's no harm in that, as long as you realize your mistake and say, oh, I'm sorry, they. It's not that big of a deal unless you make it that big of a deal. And quite frankly, from what I've experienced, everybody who falls under this big umbrella, this rainbow, this the knafei Shekhinah, the wings of God, all of us on this earth, we are entitled to be who we are. We are entitled to love who we want to love. We are entitled to be our true, authentic selves. And I hope, yes, sure, questions? Hi, yeah.
I have to thank you.
Uh-huh.
And thank you because you are teaching us a new way to do a mitzvah.
Exactly.
Something that we might not have known in the past.
Yeah, so I'll repeat that for those on the stream. It is doing a mitzvah to see somebody for who they truly are, for who they are inside. Because who they are on the outside might not tell you who they are on the inside. So guess what? Ask. Get to know somebody. Get to be friends with them. Go out to dinner. Go out to coffee. Just enjoy your time together. Enjoy life. And even though we like to put things into our little categories, yes, this goes here in this little drawer, and that's very nice. That's not how humans work. It's not. And it's not only in terms of gender identity, gender expression, all of these things. It goes on to politics. It goes on to every aspect of life. It is not black and white. If it was black and white, God, the world would be a lot simpler. But it's not. This world is difficult to live in. And by God, let us help each other live in this world a little bit easier. Shabbat shalom. Susan? Yeah, sorry.
I just want to say, when my son was younger,
Uh-huh.
I always taught him, if we saw somebody, for instance, who was handicapped,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't understand it, I always said to him, why don't you go over and ask? They don't mind being asked, they only mind being looked at.
Hey, I like that. Thank you, Susan.
They don't mind being asked, what's the difference?
Yeah. They don't mind being asked, what's the difference? Who are you? And what are you about? But, like Susan said, they do mind being stared at. So, I will actually end this little tiny sermon thing with a little song. And you have the lyrics there in front of you, right underneath the infographic, even though I don't have it on that page. If you see the brackets around the words God, when we go back through the song, you take that love and you put it where God was. And then when we sing it one more time, you take the world and you put it where God was. Understand? Pretty simple. And I've done this song here before, but I thought maybe I should give you the words this time. If your God is my God and my God is everything, aren't we all part of one God? So let your God be my God and our God be everything. Oh, we'll all know we're all part of one God. So open up your hearts to all the lost and lonely. Let no one be alone tonight before our one and only. Before our one and only. So now we replace God with love. If your love is my love and my love is everything, aren't we all part of one love? So let your love be my love and our love be everything. Oh, we'll all know we're all part of one love. So open up your heart to all the lost and lonely. Let no one be alone tonight before our one and only. Before our one and only. If your world is my world and my world is everything, aren't we all part of one world? So let your world be my world and our world be everything. Oh, we'll all know we're all part of one world. So open up your hearts to all the lost and lonely. Let no one be alone tonight before our one and only. Before our one and only. Can you hear God's song? May this be God's will. I'd like to now invite, already headed up there. Good. To give me a little sit down for a second.
Just a second.
Betty Adams. Thank you.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Hi, thank you, Cantor Dan, student Cantor Dan. I'm Betty Who am I? I'm Betty Adams, co-president of Temple Sinai, along with Lynn Weinstein, and I want to thank student Cantor Dan, our accompanist, Dr. David McFarland, and all who participated in our service tonight, and a special thank you to student Cantor Dan for that lesson. Anybody with children, grandchildren, or who knows anybody in their 20s or 30s or 40s, that really helps, really does. Tonight, we'd like to thank the following sponsors. Shabbat services are sponsored by Maddie and Melvin Mogel in memory of Melvin's sister, Faye Ann Gibbons, Lynn Weinstein and family in memory of her husband, Arnie Weinstein. The following donations to the community food pantries are sponsored by Zena Wagner and family in memory of Jacob Wagner, Carol Sklar in memory of Robbie Sobel, Carol and Paul Schoenberg in honor of Paul's birthday and the marriage of their granddaughter, Rachel Swanson, to Emerson Hardebeck. Oneg sponsorships this week: Carol Lazarus in honor of her birthday, Helene and Sydney Wartell in honor of Sydney's birthday, Joyce and Dr. Jerome Simon in honor of being together for 63 years and celebrating your 59th wedding anniversary. And well, I want to say a blanket happy birthday and happy anniversary to all. Also, our Saturday, June 25th Shabbat Torah study is sponsored by Myrna and Barry Axelrod in memory of Myrna's father, Irving Corland, and Lila Goldman in celebration of her daughter, Lori Weiss-Wolchin, and David Wolchin's wedding anniversary. And a couple of announcements. If you're in the sanctuary, take a flyer and sign up tonight for the July 15th Shabbat dinner and entertainment, followed by Erev Shabbat services. So this is a triple header on July 15th. The menu is different this time. I won't tell you the details. You can read it on the flyer. And if you're not here with us, you can call Judith in our office during the week at, oh, you know what I'm going to do. You know what I'm going to do. 561-276-6161, extension 112, Judith. Call Judith on Monday through Friday in the office. And have you thought about dedicating a chair in our sanctuary? A couple of people actually have thought about it and already stopped me tonight, and I think it's going pretty well, but it's something to really think about. You can have a plaque engraved with your name. You can commemorate a special occasion like your child or grandchild becoming a doctor, for example, a special birthday, an anniversary, in memory of a loved one. You'll be helping to fund new carpet on our bima, helping Temple Sinai recover lost revenue from COVID, and you'll get first choice of sitting in your dedicated seat or seats for High Holy Days. We have flyers available with details if you're interested. You can see me after services, and I'll make sure that one of the chairs of the project can get back with you and help you. And if you're watching from home, here we go again, visit our website, TempleSinaiPBC.org, and you'll see the details there. Or for additional information, you can also call Judith, who's pretty busy these days, at 561-276-6161, extension 112 in our office during the week. Again, we are not having Saturday Shabbat morning services throughout the summer, but we are definitely still having Torah study on Zoom at 12:30. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you very much, Betty. Let us turn to page 586 as we rise for the Aleinu, but we will be reading the English on the back page of your handouts before we continue with the Va'anachnu Kor'im. So please rise. And we read together, "Let us praise the ruler of the universe and adore the creator of the world, who did not make us like other nations, who created us different from other people and set us on a separate path towards a special destiny. Sometimes we may feel excluded because we are gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer identified, or straight, Jewish or non-Jewish, female or male, old or young, or disabled. We conceal the unique attributes with which we are created in God's image. May God strengthen our inner resolve to honor and fulfill our unique purpose, to live out God's wonderful and unknowable design, in which each one of us is a vital participant. Therefore, we bow in reverence before the Supreme Ruler, the Holy One, who is to be blessed. Va'anachnu kor'im u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol ha'aretz Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. Please be seated. I now invite Co-President Lynn Weinstein to help us continue with the Kaddish Yatom.
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed the earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. During this week, we remember members and friends of our Temple Sinai community and family members of all of us, some whose memorial lights are kindled on our sanctuary walls include Seymour Birkin, Sarah Blum, Claudine Cassell, Rita Chazen, Nathan Dobson, Nathan Feldman, Sylvia Carden Finkelstein, Beatrice Charmetz Heitner, Louis C. Karch, Irving Corland, Milton Lieberman, Morton H. Pechter, Clarice F. Schwartz, Benjamin Shapiro, Thelma R. Stern, James Benjamin Williams. We also remember this Shabbat Phyllis Fleckner, Faye Ann Gibbons, Richard Glickman, Paul Katz, Harriet Kramer, Harry Pollock, Hilda Schengold, Milton Tronfeld, Jacob Wagner, Melvin Wortel, and my husband, Arnold Weinstein. For friends at home, if you are remembering someone, please say their name at this time. And the memories of recent passings, folks who are in the Shloshim period include Geraldine Klaas, Richard Hartman, Robbie Sobel, Joanne Russillo. As I go around our sanctuary, if there's someone you are remembering on this Shabbat, please rise and say their name. Carol? Elaine Bell, thank you. Jane? Tom Morgan. David Cohen. Okay. Let's all join together as we also remember those slaughtered because they made choices in their lives that others didn't respect, and also remember all of the victims of the Shoah as we turn and recite the Mourner's Kaddish together, page 598 in our prayer book. Yitzgadal v'yitzgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'biyomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabar v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shemei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. Osei shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. V'imru amen. May there be abundant peace from heaven and life for us in all Israel. Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. We will end this service this evening with the song of Adon Olam found on page 625. Adon Olam Hashem Malach Terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Le'ed Nasa V'chefso Kol Azai Harit, Velo Ha'oz Ve'Hamisra, Velo Ha'oz Ve'Hamisra, Vehu Eli Vechai Goali, Tzur Chevli Be'etzara, Vehu Nisi Umanosli, Menat Kosi Be'yom Mekra, Menat Kosi Be'yom Mekra, Be'yado Afkid Ruchi, Be'etishan Ve'aira, Ve'im Ruchi Geviatzi, Adonai li Ve'lo ira, Adonai li Ve'lo ira. Shabbat Shalom. We will have a hamotzi and kiddush in the back. Please feel free to take home the packets with you. They're a wonderful little resource. And Shabbat Shalom.
And also, for those of you, there is a paper at the back of the social hall with the list of names of our members who are on the Mishaberach list. Thank you.